everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and welcome to two new mods, well not new to me, two mods by India Fox Techo, the America class amphibious assault ships, the LHAs, as well as the forward class of aircraft carriers like we have in front of us here. These are two static ship mods available for the sim that'll allow you to do carrier, oh that was a hard one, carrier landings as well as STOVL landings for the LHAs. These are unfortunately static, so they do not move. But the level of detail on each ship, I think, kind of makes up for that. So we're going to take a look at some of the textures on and around the ship, do a takeoff and landing on the forward class carriers with the F-35B that we have loaded up over here, as well as take a look at compatibility with the F-18E that is in the sim as default. And then we'll take a look at the LHAs in doing a F-35B, the VTOL variant F-35. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and hop into textures and then carry on from there. So all in all, I think these are very, very nicely textured, very nicely modeled ships, both of them. There's really not too many areas where textures are going to fall apart. Obviously, everything's not super high fidelity, but you do have moving models on the deck as well as realistic support aircraft. You saw that, well, okay, semi-realistic. That is a, supposed to be an SH-60, which would have the tail wheel somewhere in this general area, as compared to the UH-60 model that they use with the aft tail wheel. But that is a nice touch nonetheless. You can see a couple of those on the deck here with us, as well as other F-35 static models. You can see F-35C. Oh, I almost said cattle bar. Is that cattle? Yeah, carrier assisted takeoff, something recovery landing. Yeah, so those are cattle bar aircraft. Some nice ground equipment. You can see we've got some tugs, some forklifts. Camera slightly off center there, and then obviously the arresting gear as we come back, wires 1 through 4. Just kidding, wires 1 through 3. Is it? Are there only 3 wires on this? Okay, I don't know anything about carriers. You can roast me in the comments, that's fine. LSO station over here, not super highly modeled, not really well modeled at all. The highlight here would be the animated crew. That's interesting. The LSO station would be, it'd be a spot where you would probably set up some cinematic shots, but it almost looks like they took the LSO station out of DCS and then just like applied like a 144p filter over it and made it 2D. Very nice modeling on the anti-air missile system. I believe this carrier's got to have some Sea Whizzes on it as well. See if we can find those. There's a Sea Whiz. Or is it Sea Ram when it's on a Navy boat? Someone let me know. I know this only has the Sea Whiz. High rate of fire Gatling gun with a radar that tracks your target. Basically fires a wall of lead at any incoming projectiles or aircraft. Oh. But all in all, I think the detail on this boat is very, very nice. Be curious to see what the full model looks like. Unfortunately, Flight Sim does not do a transparent water model, so I can't like take this boat somewhere and put it where the water is completely transparent. Looks like we cannot go into this service hangar where the elevator goes down, but if I change my time of day here, maybe we can get a little better look-see inside of there. See, a little bit of lower poly stuff going on right there. You know, realistically, I do like how you can see through. That's cool. Realistically, you're not going to be taking too much of a look at this portion of the ship. Everything's going to be probably deck end. And from that stance, it does work very well. As far as I can work out, and maybe this is just something I'm missing, there are no cues from the carrier landing system. Your meatball over here. There is no meatball. Where's the meatball? Am I still stupid? Do they not use meatballs anymore? I thought there was still a visual. So I know these guys here, these yellow bars, will tell you your off-axis or off-altitude, but I still thought they had a, was it float gloss? I forgot what the acronym is, but I thought they still had a little lighting system over here. I don't know. I'm not up on my military aircraft carrier knowledge. Looks like they just took, because this was made by India Fox Tech, it looks like they took their default F-35, the same one that we're flying in right now, and just placed a couple of them static and parked. So these are going to be very, very high fidelity models. The actual the actual deck texture does leave a little bit to be desired in my opinion. It looks a little bit low poly, especially when you compare it to some of the other aspects around it, like the anchor points and that here. Obviously there's no shuttle arm for the catapult. That's missing, and the track for the catapult does kind of look low quality. So I think that's my biggest gripe. Oh, there it is. Is it really this far down the deck? I'm probably. Can you even see that on approach? I guess we'll figure it out. If I were landing, could I see that? Yeah, I suppose. It's a little bit kind of out of the way, but I suppose you could see that. I can see my whale off lights and all that, so we'll call it acceptable. Bridge and conning tower look very nice. Very good quality textures on there. Spotlights, various radio antennas. All in all, I think it is kind of a mixed bag, you know, from even, you know, the height we're at now. Like, from this height, the deck textures look okay for the most part. But obviously in the F-35 that we have down there, it's going to be a different story. So we'll go ahead, hop in the jet, and then take a look at a takeoff and do a quick pattern, and then do a arrested landing. Alright, so on the ground here in the F-35, we'll go ahead and start taxiing out here. We'll take Cat 2. So go ahead and spread the wings here. And I am using, just for full disclosure, I am using the F-35 improvement mod while flying this. This is not about the aircraft, it's about the boats. So, launch bar out, wings unfolded. You'll see as we pull up here, we'll get a notification on our screen, on our ICAS, whatever the F-35 version of the ICAS is, to release brakes to do a catapult takeoff. So we'll throttle up a little bit here. And there's that message, release brakes for catapult launch. So we will do that. We'll do it from the inside. Throttle up and brakes off. There's that nice sound effect as well. Here's our takeoff. We'll go up to 1,500 feet. And enter for the right or left-hand overhead brake. Alright, hook coming out. Coming over top the carrier, we'll enter the left-hand brake. I'm going to try to do this in one foul swoop, just like in DCS. We'll see how it goes. I've noticed the F-35 is a little bit, I don't want to call it unrealistic because I've never flown an F-35, obviously, but it really seems to want to fly straight in the air, regardless of your airspeed. Obviously, as you decrease your airspeed, you need to maintain a certain AOA to keep the aircraft pointed where you want. And you'll see that as we approach the deck. We're going to be doing probably 140 knots, which is a low speed for a carrier landing. Just turn up my HUD brightness. I'm going to bring up our HSI there just so I can kind of see what's going on. Airspeed and altitude-wise. It's a little hard to see the HUD right now. I do have it in auto mode. If I switch you to day, it's the same thing, so. Start pulling the power back. And we're a little bit left. Keep that nose up. And see right here at 150 knots, the airplane would be sinking a lot faster than, yeah, this is going to be a bolter. Going around. Oh, we're dead. Okay, cool. That's fine. We're dead. So as you can see, a slightly unrealistic, okay, alright. Reset. Reset. Reset, please. Alright, take number 2 after slamming into the deck sideways and then getting yeeted off backwards. I'm gonna akin that getting yeeted off to the mod, the improvement mod. It might not be, it might be, but I would like to think that IFT took the time to compare their, I believe their only carrier capable aircraft for FS2020 to work with this mod, but maybe we discovered a new bug. Who knows? All right, take number 2. Gear down and locked. Hook down. Roll off some power. Roll off a lot of power, as we saw before. It just wanted to fly over the deck. So we're going to try to fly the Pipper. I don't know how well that's going to work. Alright, and we are down. Relatively uneventful landing the second time around. Just for a good measure's sake, we'll do one more takeoff and landing. I'll speed through the boring bits with the pattern and all that. So again, lining back up on the old cat. Alright. Stimulated on the launch bar. Throttle up. Control sweep. And we'll give our salute to the shooter. Good to go. Alright, I'll catch you guys back on the base for our arrested landing. Alrighty, rolling out on the base for our last approach in the F-35C. A little bit of nose down, a lot of nose down actually, we're climbing. And for the Case 1 recovery that we're doing right now, we probably wouldn't be shooting as short of a base as I am, but just for the video's sake, I want to kind of expedite the process. Pretty sure, yeah, Case 1's the good weather variant, and then Case 3 is garbage. Bolter? Nope, bolter, bolter, bolter. So that's one downside, is you really can't do a bolter approach, or a bolter missed landing. It kind of automatically drags you and stops you in your tracks. So we'll go ahead and hop in the F-18E and see if it's equally as compatible with the Ford class carrier. Back in just a bit. Okay, so several days later for me, a continuous video for you. I have struggled, to say the least, to record this segment. This is actually my third time doing it. Obviously, we're looking at the F-35C on the carrier, and the next thing I was gonna try was the F-18. It's been about a week for me in terms of recording, and I just couldn't get the sim to cooperate with me. Constant crashes. Anyway, let's take a look at the F-18E and see if it works with the carrier. Spoilers, I recorded this once before and it doesn't. Anyway, we will give a try. Anyway, just so you guys can see it, I actually recorded this whole segment earlier today, and I realized my source was incorrect. So that's fun. I had my source set to DCS because that was the previous video that I recorded. So it was just me talking over a black screen with flight simulator sounds, and that probably wouldn't go over too well. Nonetheless, here we are, rolling up to the carrier. We're gonna give it two. They're going to be touch and goes. They're going to be bolters. But just to prove I'm not fibbing, hooks out, gears out. And we will attempt to catch one of those wires. It's not going to work, but we're gonna try it anyway. Future sample to the rescue. Okay, Pipper right on center wire. Could have been a catch, no dice. Going around. Is bolter number one. We're going to do a rapid circle here. And do another bolter. Then we're going to take a look at the LHA 6 and the F-35B. Brick on, gear coming down. Some power back in. And I mean, it would make sense for IndiaVox Tekka to not to only make this work with the F-35. There's not actually a resting hook model in Flight Sim, so what they do, as you saw, is make the speed brakes put on, and I think they make it like a sticky surface for the IndiaVox Tekka F-35C. Obviously that doesn't translate over to the Asobo F-18. Yeah, would have been a catch all day. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the F-35 Bravo model next. And we'll take a look at the landing craft LHA 6. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Back in just a bit. Alrighty, last up, the F-35B approaching LHA 6. We're going to take a look at the hover mode as well as the STOVL, a short takeoff vertical landing, so I guess it's kind of interchangeable in this case. But nonetheless, we're going to take a look at the Stovall variant F-35 on the carrier that's made for it. Same thing as we did on the Lincoln or Ford class. Goodbye, frames. I didn't want you anyway. It's really struggling putting darn near just over 6 G's on him there. Speed brakes out. We are sub 300, gear coming down. And we'll go into our Stovall mode. Duct fan out. Nozzle swivel down. And this is where I'm going to request your guys' help. So right now I'm in the Stovall mode at idle power. The aircraft will slow down to about 60-ish knots. If I click hover, the aircraft will basically come to a stop and hover in place where it's at. While hovering, I can bring the aircraft to the right, to the left, and I can rotate our nose to the right and to the left. I can't slew the aircraft fore and aft. If I move my control stick forward and backwards, so that's how I was yawing left and right. Left and right. Get it right, sample. It was with the control stick, but if I push my control stick forward, the aircraft decreases in altitude. And if I pull my control stick aft, it increases in altitude. So I'm not really sure how to get the aircraft to kind of move forward, if you will. It's not the throttle. The throttle locks into this detent here, and if I move it, it just kind of glitches all over the place. So as far as I can tell, the only real way to land is to get a beam your ship, which I suppose the real F-35 does kind of do this. But you get a beam your ship, and then you just come over to one of the landing areas here. Alternatively, you can, let's say that we were too far forward or aft, so let's say I want to move forward and land on this elevator here. I can then rotate my aircraft to the left, or to the right rather, get that left wing centered, and then crab over this way. But that's it. I can't move the aircraft forward or aft. And then the other part that throws me for a loop, and we'll go back into the cockpit, is as soon as I hit the ground, you'll see right here on the MFD, I get this auto takeoff and landing annunciation, which I do not care for. It's going to slam me into this bridge here. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, so we're down. It's because I don't have 3 wheels on the ground. It is. So we'll go back up. We'll rotate, get in line with the runway here. And we'll try again. 3 wheels down this time. And then, yeah, you can see it goes into auto takeoff. So maybe you have to be holding the brakes. I'm not sure. It's back into hover mode. Try this again one more time. Off the ground. Did our flight. Woo. And then we'll touch back down, and I'm going to hold the brakes in. You can see my toe brakes actuating there. Holding the brakes in. Yeah, and it disables the auto takeoff with the brakes on, so that's good, I suppose. So that is the vertical landing, which is what the F-35 would do on this type of carrier. Next, we'll do the short field takeoff, so we'll stand on the brakes again, run the engine up just a little bit, and then full power. You can hear the afterburners trying to crackle in there. Airborne. And then I'm going to reduce power and go into hover mode. You can see we've got that deceleration, pronunciation on our craft to keep us crabbing over to the right here as we go. Interestingly enough, my weapons bay's door is open. I don't know why I did that. I did that shortly after we touched down the first time. As far as I know, there's no RCS components inside of the weapons bays on the F-35. It would all be either done through the swiveling rear nozzle here, and there's two doors underneath the main landing gear, so one here and one here, and that's what gives you your roll control. And then obviously the angle of the fan blades just behind your main landing gear and on your actual exhaust is what gives you your pitch control. So with this newfound knowledge, we'll bring her in here. And I should have mentioned it in my F-35 review. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and check it out, please. But this aircraft is completely hands-free flyable. Right now, I have no control inputs whatsoever. My feet are sitting firmly on the ground and my hands are in my lap. And you can see we've got that little bit of drift, and I almost akin that to just my rudder pedals having a little bit of axis input in. I don't zero them to give myself a little bit more of an incentive to be hands-on controls. But hands back on the controls. Now we'll go ahead and continue our landing. Brakes on. Yes, that's strange. So I was idle power, but I definitely wanted to take off for us there. So we'll go ahead and set the park brake, and then I'm going to shut our doors. It says that they're closed now. They are closed now. Anyway, let's look at the boat for textures. Obviously we have that UH-60 in gray, wanting to be a not Pave Hawk. What's the SH-60 designation? Someone tell me in the comments below. A couple more of them sitting on the deck with their tails folded. Relatively good detail, actually. I'll give them that. I mean, up close they look a little bit rough, but I mean, they've got somewhat of an interior model. The floor texturing and all that looks good. And it's like this on the Ford class as well. And all in all, credit where credit's due. I think they look pretty good. Same ground equipment that we saw before. Firefighting unit, forklift, another firefighter, and then a tug. Semi-animated ground crews. I mean, they don't have facial expressions, but they do move around, just like on the Ford class. There's our F-35. Same kind of issue with the texturing on the ground. As far as the deck goes, you get up high, and it looks good. But, at ground level or even in the cockpit of the F-35, it does look rough. Love the rotating radio dish assemblies. Those are very nice. All three of them that I can see. Relatively good overall detail on, the conning towers and stuff like that. Non-transparent bridge here. If I go to the bridge, it just teleports back to the top. Nice CWiz/CRAM. Various exhaust ports. A little bit of a texture issue I see there. They're transparent. I'm looking through them from this angle, but if you come around to the backs, they look normal. And I guess it's going to come down to what do you guys think on the modules here. Several F-35Bs on the apron. And these aren't the only carriers. There's a Lincoln class that has, I think they're, what are they, T-45C, the Goshawk. So there is a variant there that you can fly as well. I obviously wanted to fly the version with F-35s on it. Oddly enough, the LHA 6 texture, both on the stern and bow of the vessel, kind of looks a little bit wonky, especially when you consider the size of it on the bow. It just doesn't quite match, I guess, the rest of the textures around it. I guess the rest of the textures here are really rough. Relatively rough, not really. Nice anchor detail. Someone will have to educate me on what purpose these three holes serve, but they're obviously not holes. They're I don't even know how many sides do we have. 2, 4, 6, 8, so octagonal. In nature, on a real vessel, these would be round. But all in all, I think it's okay. And you're not really going to be looking too much from that angle, so... let's do a look at the night lighting here. I know I did not do this on the Ford class carrier, but it does look very good as well. So there's some night lighting for you. You can kind of see the deck lighting there. Is it the light from my landing light that's casting on the forklift? It is. So, that's good. Nice weather cast. Obviously a nice wet deck modeled here. Good reflections. We go back into the cockpit and I turn on our external lighting. You can see we get nice casting there as well. Still a little butthurt about that strobe light sequencing on the F-35. It's a hell of a lot slower than what we're given, but beggars can't be choosers. Relatively nice reflections from the nav lights as well. And obviously your nice dark red dim night lighting on the bridge and conning towers. So all in all, I think it's a pretty good vessel. What do you guys think? Is it in your inventory to pick up? For me, it's going to serve more as a cinematic aid versus anything else. If I want to do proper carrier landings, I'm going to probably do those in DCS. Now, granted, DCS does not have a F-35, but it does have an AVAP Harrier and an appropriate class ship for that as well. Actually, there's more now with the introduction of the HMS Invincible, but we're not here to talk about DCS. We're here to talk about Flight Sim, and I think that is going to be the end of this Flight Sim video. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching this. There's a train. So as always, take it easy.